Hey guys, had to make sure it was running. It's me again, Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio up here. And my last video, or one of my last videos, I had mentioned that I had ruined my Neil Sedaka test tape, my little crutch that I use because I like to use the same tape to test all units because I know what it sounds like. If there's anything weird about it, I'll pick up on that and stuff like that. Well, I now have another Neil Sedaka test tape. Actually, I have four. I actually have another 4 Neil Sedaka test tapes, so that I won't need to replay. I really heavily depend. Now I've got my official RCA test cartridges, for various purposes, which I use during the course of the adjustment. But when I'm demonstrating units, I like to use the same tape. That way, at the last minute, if there's anything weird that I need to catch before I send it out, I'll catch it. That's something that the test tapes probably would not reveal because it doesn't have actual music on it. It's just tones, which the ear gets pretty fatigued after a while. So anyway, we're demonstrating this time a cute little Sylvania. This is a combination stereo and quad unit. It'll play both stereo and quad tapes. This is a Sylvania EQ 3755. Oh, and you know what? Before I move on here, what's the very first thing you do when you buy tapes? The very first thing you do, you don't play it. You don't ever stick a tape into your machine without first replacing the foil splice that holds the ends of the tape together. If you don't replace that splice, it's going to break. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And since most tapes have been sitting around for decades, the adhesive that holds that foil splice on the tape, it gets brittle, and when it makes a sharp turn around the post before it hits the head, it's going to separate from the tape, and your machine could suck a lot of tape into it, get it all wrapped around your capstan, and in most cases you would need to send the machine back to have that tape removed. So avoid that in the first place. Replace your foil splices before you play your tapes for the first time. Now, obviously, you have to play it a little bit so that you can bring it around to the splice. And if you don't have a machine that has like auto stop, at a track change, then just sit there and just continuously monitor it. I mean, on a typical 8-track tape, a single program is seldom more than about 10 minutes anyway. So just sit there, and the moment that thing changes tracks, pull that tape out, and it'll be right at the foil splice where you can get to it. Do not play tapes for pleasure reasons without first replacing the foil splice. That is my number one rule. And that is why tapes get eaten in 8-track machines. It's not a fault of the machine. I've made a video on that. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to our Sylvania 2 4-channel unit. Let's pop in a Neil Sedaka tape. Okay, look at our meters. Switch tracks a bunch of times. Okay, we're blank there. Okay, there's a track that was blank before. Okay, let's go ahead and try a quad tape. Now, one thing I'll say about quad is you're not going to get output on all 4 speakers at all times. That's one of the reasons behind the quad and surround effects, is that some instruments are going to only be in the left rear, some instruments will only be in the right front, etc. So if the trumpet is in the left front and there's no trumpet solo going on, then you're not going to hear anything out of the left front. So let's go ahead and pop this thing in 4-channel. And right now the left rear is kind of weak. There we go. Okay, let's switch tracks. There's our trumpet on the right front to energize that. And of course, a quad tape only has 2 programs, so it's not going to go on 3 or 4. Program 1, program 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we'll just go back to the stereo again real quick just to make sure we get all 4 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that concludes the test. There's not much to test on a playback only unit. Now, there's one thing I was going to say. Yes, when this unit came in, the customer included a note saying that the 8-track. Oh, this is incidentally from Don in Reserve, Louisiana. Customer states 8-track does not play. When I hooked it up, it did play. It did need service. I mean, it needed a new belt, reservice the capstan, clean the controls and switches, get all the lights working, and service the track change mechanism. But it did produce sound. So what that usually means is you might notice that this unit has no volume controller. There's no controls. All there is a track change button. If it doesn't have a volume control, it's not designed to drive speakers because it doesn't have an amplifier. This has to be plugged into either a quad receiver. Well, if you don't listen to quad tapes, then a stereo receiver will be fine, but it needs to be plugged into an external amplifier. The older version would be a quadraphonic receiver from the 70s. The newer version would be a surround sound receiver from pretty much anybody, and you can just use the left, right, front, and rear channels on that surround sound receiver to reproduce your 4-channel 8-track sound. So, with that being stated, I'm out of here. I'm Barry with Barry's 8-track and classic car radio repair. My website and phone number are in the description below. Please visit my website before calling me with a bunch of questions. I simply do too much volume to spend 15 minutes on the phone with each new prospective customer wanting to know what all do you do and how much is it and all that stuff. Go to my website first, get my prices, my options, get a good idea of what I'm about before calling me. After that, you're welcome to call me. So thanks so much for watching and listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. And thank you, Don, for your business all the way from Louisiana.